Welcome to the 1980s, the time of the Iran-Iraq War, the fall of the Soviet Empire.
Okay. Why do we have to make this?
Why do we have to start with that?
This is horology.
Chernobyl and AIDS. But on a better note, it was also the destruction of the Berlin Wall. It's when compact disc started, Charles and Diana, E.T. home phone, and the Empire Strikes Back. And it's when they came out with the Hublot Classic, the Swatch and the Rolex. They just two-tone with its Jubilee bracelet. But before we get into all of that fabulous 80s horological detail, let's do a quick wrist check. Elliot, what are you wearing?
Well, I'm wearing something that's not from the 1980s. Because I weirdly don't have anything from the 1980s. So I thought I'd get the closest, which is late 1970s. So it's a Polyot, like cosmonaut, that they wear. That's a lot of them who shoot for cosmonauts, Russian cosmonauts to go into space. I think it's a really cool chronograph. I really like it. It's not really 1980s, but it has the colorway of a... Could be in 1980s. That's what I meant.
Max.
Could be inspired by the fall of the Berlin Wall. I decided to take something that is German in descent, but German in the 1980s. Now, this watch doesn't actually work. I bought it thinking I could fix it. It was just a simple battery. It's not the case, so I need to find a way to fix it. But this is the Junghans line. There is very little online about this series, which makes it for me even more fantastic. It's like an alternative to Swatch that didn't really exist. And the colorway is very, very, very...
It's great, but it doesn't work.
And it's always, wherever you are in the world, at 10 to 12.
Well, it is. It's the most accurate watch in the world twice a day.
Yeah. Indeed. And who said you needed to know the time? You can just watch it on your phone. So I remember I had this fabulous Casio. And Casio G-Shocks, of course, came out in the 1980s.
Jeez, is that dog again?
Yeah, dog is causing chaos. Casio came out in the 1980s. Oh, Casio G-Shocks launched in the 1980s. And I remember I gave my Casio G-Shock to you, which means I have a gap in my collection because every serious watch collector needs to have a Casio G-Shock.
Okay.
And it was created by Kikyu Ibu, who dropped his watch and broke it. So he came up with a 1010. 10 bars for the water resistance, 10 years for battery life, and 10 meters for the shock. And that's how Casio was born. And it has a carbon guard. So I managed to get myself one of these rare beasties. It is indeed the British Army Casio. Which is a phenomenal.
Of course, you've got a
piece.
Mudmaster.
A Mudmaster,
Like,
indeed.
out of all the
Well
Casios,
done.
you had to get a Mudmaster.
Well done. Carbon core guard. Oh my word! You can connect it to your app, and it will give you your mission log memory, your location memory. It does sunrise, sunset, calorie counter, because one needs a calorie counter when we're out there. It's shockproof, thermometer, altimeter, barometer, keep tracking, and it has this fabulous compass, so you can see exactly where you are. Lights and almost all these incredible gadgets.
Yeah.
Barometer, wow! A really, really fabulous little G-Shock, and a nod to good old Kikyu Ibi from the 1980s.
Wasn't the story that he saw a kid playing with like a bouncing ball and he was like, that should be a watch or something like that? Should be as resistant as that? Wasn't that the story?
Can't remember. But could be both.
Anywho, we don't know because we didn't do our research.
Not yet.
But with a little bit of research, and I think you've talked about this before, this is the Seiko Court Chronicler, the 7828
What?
Bishop.
Wait, no. Say that again?
The Seiko chronograph.
Yeah.
That's worn on the film Aliens.
Alien.
Not a ghost, Alien. Yeah. And here it is, absolute classic 80s design.
Okay. That's it.
No, it was actually designed by Giorgio Giugaro. Giugaro, sì. He was a car manufacturer. He designed a BMW M1, and the Volkswagen Golf GT1, and the DeLorean DMC12.
Oh, that's cool.
Pretty talented. He only did two watches, actually. This one and the Bishop, the 6000 Bishop and the 7000 Ripley. But that's a real classic 80s kind of watch.
Okay. That's very cool.
Should we keep going, or are we sharing?
I was waiting
Just throw. So let's just throw these ones in, see if you've got a snap on them. There's G-Shock again, which we just talked about. I have no
I think
idea.
you were talking about the Berlin Wall and AIDS or
Berlin
something.
Wall and
but
AIDS,
no,
yeah.
it's
And
okay.
this one,
Slightly
the
off topic.
Cartier Santos. Now they had two. This one's from the Wall Street movie.
That's
with
not a Cartier
great
Santos. That's
big
a Casio
the
calculator.
Casio calculator. Sorry,
What the?
the
is going on?
Casio calculator. Oh, where's the Cartier? Where is it? There it is. There's a Cartier Santos in big gold as worn in Wall Street. There we go, typical 80s watches. Okay. So there's a few of the inspiration from this fabulous era that none of these guys were around.
1980s. Actually, quite interesting for the development of watch brands. I think if you look at the 1980s, if you have to sum it up, it would be plastic is chic. I think that pretty much sums it up. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the brands, and Elliot's going to talk more specifically about the watches.
Yep.
So if you think about 1980s, you might not actually think about this brand because you'd assume it's the 1990s or 2000, 2010. And actually, the start of this brand was in 1980, and that is Hublot. Now, Hublot was founded by Carlo Crocco. It's one of the first brands to combine natural rubbers with precious metal cases.
As you said, it was the first brand to do precious metal, so you've got gold with a rubber bracelet. They're the first ones to do it. Hublot's very famous. You can see it with their design. It was different from what AP and everything was doing. It's similar design of being like, well, there was steel sports watches. You know, this is with precious metal sports watch. They had it in steel as well. But the design is made from a Hublot. The name Hublot in French means these doors inside that you have inside of ships. Max, you got a lovely picture of it, and that's what it's designed from. And that was the watch that they came out in the 80s with it. So it was really the first for a lot of reasons. First sports watch being precious metal, being on rubber bracelet with that kind of design, and it's as much as you might dislike them, you have to give them props to starting a movement.
Yeah, I think Hublot is one of these brands that we should do a whole episode on Hublot because it is very controversial. I think undeniably you can criticize the price, you can criticize some of the taste, but you cannot criticize the innovation and what they're trying to do outside of the realm of the actual mechanical movement. They do.
Could be there as a
marketing.
genius.
That doesn't mean that it comes with the best.
This was in
watches.
quartz, by the way.
No doubt.
Clearly,
The new edition that came out wasn't in quartz, but that was in quartz.
Long of
So that was
plastic.
different from all of the. If you think of an AP or Protect Nautilus, that's now the case size is different. The case is different because they're having a Hublot size instead of the octagonal shape it had. It was quartz instead of mechanical. It was a rubber bracelet and it was in precious metal, so it's completely different. So yeah, you've got to give them props to that.
Yeah.
Don't like
Now, gold was a big theme in the 80s as well as plastic. But I see here we've got the old Seamaster Polaris.
you've got
Very-
it on,
very classic.
6 on the nav. Well, two-tone was a very big thing in the 80s. There were a lot of two-tone watches, especially the Datejusts.
So what do you mean by two-tone for those that aren't initiated?
Two-tone means two types of colors or two types of materials, which is usually steel with gold. So you see that you have steel with gold. Rolex did very famously their Datejust, steel and gold two-tone.
If we're talking about plastic chic, you have to talk about Swatch. So Swatch, 1983, it was founded as part of the SMH group, so now the Swatch group. And it was really created to compete with the Japanese quartz watches of that time. And there's no question about it, it all became a massive cultural icon. Elliot, on the pieces, what can you tell us?
I mean, I think everyone knows Swatch for what they are. It's really, from that quartz crisis when it came out, they were the first ones to come out and just really make a fashionable pieces like that. And it just became collectible. So the whole point was that you would not only buy one Swatch, you would have 5, 6, or an entire collection. And they really made a massive array of them. I'm pretty sure, I think we made an episode talking about them more
graphic design, no?
in deeply. Yeah, exactly, in graphic design. So you can go watch that.
For anyone that's born after 2005, Swatch is the equivalent to a Labubu.
Yeah. It was like the Labubu of horology.
It was the Labubu of horology.
It's like you
and
wanted to get them all, but at least you knew what you were buying. Not like Labubu, where it's just gambling. Shows our economy is going down thin. Anyway, what do we have next?
After Labubu, I think we have to talk about Blancpain, but Blancpain less so about the actual brand, because the brand is much older than what it is, but it's about the revival, because in 79, it was essentially destroyed by the quartz crisis. But what happened was it came back to life after, again, someone who's in the 80s very iconic, Jean-Claude Billard, brought it back and said, let's make this brand what it truly is, and it's all about mechanical pieces, and we will never make a quartz watch ever because we respect the craft and we understand the craft.
What's funny about that is a random thing. Is there's a famous quote by Jean-Claude Giugaro. You can put it up, and that's when he was talking about Blancpain's revival. He was saying that I'm like twisting the words. He was saying that quartz was like really bad for you. Was that a radioactive material or something? And that was like his reasoning behind with like Blancpain continuing to use mechanical movements because but like quartz is really bad for you, it'll affect you, you'll get sick. Except he then worked on the Hublot Classic Fusion, which is quartz.
Let's not get wrong.
He's a marketing genius.
He's a marketing genius.
He's a marketing genius.
He's probably a bit of a cheeky.
He is cheeky. But
Cheeky boy.
oh, you should look at that. It's right there. That's the ref 0023. So in the 80s, with the revival, their plan was to make 6 masterpieces. I don't have all 6 here because that's a lot of watches. I just took 2 of my favorites. So that's the first flying tourbillon they made. It's the very first one, actually, that's been released. And it was 8 millimeters thick.
Wow.
Which is quite impressive. So that was one of the masterpieces. Another one, which is next to another famous watch from the 80s. It's ref 5395. You can see I remembered really well because it's written on there. And that's their perpetual calendar, which they then later did a re-edition to have a leap year indication as well. And yeah, we should have a look at the 6 masterpieces that he made in the 80s. That was how they did the revival. Really impressive watches.
Yeah. Very underrated.
Staying to real classical design. They didn't want to do anything that was just hours and minutes. Like time only, they didn't want to do that. Every single one of their watches that they made in the 80s were something extra.
And then, of course, you've got Daniel Roth just below. When you're looking at the end of the 80s, you've got Luminox and Daniel Roth, so almost polar opposites, but really, really interesting. But then I guess, again, if we're talking about rebranding, potentially one of the most famous watch brands nowadays is Tag Heuer. And Tag Heuer was essentially Heuer, and then it mixed with the tag component, which I always forget what the acronym stands for. It's technical, avant-garde.
Technique, avant-garde. I mean, if you think, again, talking about 80s, you've got Swatch, quartz coming out, plastic. It just made sense. And so many of them came out. You can get these vintage Tag Heuer F1s for like £300 on eBay. So you don't need to spend $3,000 on a new one. And they're just really, again, collectible, fun pieces that you can just get.
Would you spend £3,000?
No. I did have one of the original Formula Ones. It was good fun. I had it for a while, and then it was recycled into the horological world to fund some more of my bad habit. And it was a good fun watch, but certainly not worth £3,000.
Yeah. No, definitely not. Elliot, are there any other watches that you can think of from that era, in the 1980s?
G-Shock. Yeah, that was a big famous thing in the 80s. Do you want to tell us a bit about G-Shock?
Yeah, I mean, Casio didn't start in the 1980s. It's just the G-Shock line started in the 1980s. And I don't think other watch brands that specialized in quartz, silicon-based watches really had as much as an impact as G-Shock, especially in a market that's more about a tougher piece. So it was easy to get ones that are collectible, a bit artistic, but when you really wanted something that was quite rugged, I think there's no question about it. The one piece everyone goes to is the Casio G-Shock. And if anything, if you're walking around an airport, and I'm always playing the game, I have £100, what can I spend? I always tend to be like, oh, I'll just get a G-Shock watch. I have to.
Yeah.
They're really brilliant. The other watches that came out in that time that are interesting, please comment if you've got anything, is the Cartier Panthère. That came out in 1987.
Yeah.
Your Grail watch, or one of your Grail watches, I would say.
Do you like Coke or do you like Pepsi? Because that was another absolute iconic piece that came out during the time, was the Rolex Pepsi.
What did you prefer in the 80s, Coke or Pepsi?
I was a kind of a Diet Coke all the way.
You're a Diet Coke head.
Yeah,
Diet Coke head. So what?
That's the GMT Master, but it was the start of that wonderful two-tone kind of coloured dials, the old Pepsi.
Is that true?
What the hell? Why?
But isn't it fascinating that you could dive down into any decade and look and see the amount of innovation and what has come out and the trends and fashions? Clearly that decade inspired a huge amount of watch and watchmaking, and particularly around the gold and precious metals and the use of different materials.
Yeah. And knowing, if you do like this, please let us know. And maybe we could do something about all the decades. probably will try to be a bit more research. But we can do all the decades. We could do 60s, 70s, 50s, whichever, and we could just do a series of
70s would be very exciting.
60s would be really cool. 90s would be nice. And then all the others are really interesting.
There you go. So in the comments, tell us your favourite decade, and we will dive back in there.
There you go.
As I've got my 80s shirt on there.
And I've got a leather jacket, which is 80s, isn't it?
And I bought this at Mango.
Which, all we know, Mango was founded in 1982.
The first ever discovered Mango was actually in 1982.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for watching the episode, everyone. Remember to
Like!
Subscribe.
and comment. We love to see what you guys think about the episodes and
That's
what
right.
you'd like to see next, of course.
Bye.